When planning your Walt Disney World trip, the first question that people ask is, where should I stay? On property or off property? Today, we're answering that question. Before we get started today, as always, this show and every show that we do is sponsored by us. If you are planning a trip to Walt Disney World, Disneyland, or Universal Orlando, we are your people. We help you with all of the planning, make it super simple for you. We'll book the trip. We'll give you planned itineraries, all our guidance and advice. You can ask us as many questions as you want. So if that's something you're interested to, oh, and by the way, it's free. So if that's something you're interested in, please click the link down below or feel free to reach out to us on social media. So to answer this question, we're breaking this down into 3 different segments. 1, we'll discuss the on-property accommodations in Disney World. Number 2, we will discuss the off-property accommodations in Disney World. Number 3, we will compare all of them. Well, we will compare them both and see what's right for your family. And ultimately, this is what it breaks down to. What is going to be right for you and your family?
Let's get into it.
So, on-property accommodations. How do you feel about on-property accommodations, Amberlyn?
They're great.
Have we ever stayed off-property?
Yes.
Briefly.
Yes.
So, might I say that we're trying not to be biased, but we are big fans of staying on property.
We like the bubble.
Yeah. But we'll get into that later. Right now, let's break down on-property accommodations. Why would somebody want to stay on property? Now, the main reason somebody would want to stay on property is for the theming. No matter where you're staying, all of the hotels, all of the resorts at Disney have different themes, even down to the cheapest hotels have over-the-top theming that really make you feel like you are truly in Disney World.
Some of the hotels even have their own smell.
Yeah. And in fact, all of them kind of do have their own unique smell that you get attached to. And
you want to bottle it and bring it home with you?
Exactly, which you can do. Our friends at Magic Kingdom Company have a million different scents, all from Disney hotels, all from the Disney resorts, in the parks, all your favorite attractions. So click the link down below. Full discretion. It is an affiliate link, so it's a way to support the channel and bring some of your favorite scents home. So go check that out. So there are three different categories when it comes to the Disney resorts. What are the categories?
I know this one. It is value, moderate, and deluxe.
Very good. Yep. Obviously, they're pretty self-explanatory. The value is going to be your cheapest options. Moderate, you're going to have that mid-tier pricing. And deluxe is going to be obviously your most expensive. Now, when you're thinking about these different categories, there's a lot to consider. Value, first off the bat, you're always going to have a nice, clean, modern room that's been, Disney has been really good about going through all of the resorts as of recently and updating all the rooms, including all the value resorts. Even your lowest tier hotel is going to have almost brand new rooms. All the all-star resorts have very new updated rooms. They aren't as themed to Disney. There is Disney touches mostly in the artwork that is in the room, but they are very clean. They're very modern. All of the beds on Disney property are extremely comfortable. And for a family of 4, it's going to feel depending on how close you are with your family, these rooms will feel a little small. But what helps is the second bed is...
It's a Murphy.
Yeah, it's a Murphy bed. And we've stayed in a couple of these rooms that have the Murphy bed. How do you like the Murphy bed?
I like the Murphy bed. I feel like they should include a little more in the pillow department, because I'm a pillow person. I like pillows. Yeah. But I only got one pillow.
But really? I think you're thinking of Universal.
No, I swear I only got one pillow.
Usually with Disney, every person has enough for at least 2 pillows.
I don't remember having 2 pillows.
Well, I could be wrong, but I think, you know what? I think there's 4 pillows in the room. And so if there's 2 people, you each get 2 pillows.
Yeah.
But if
But I had to share the pillows.
right, if you have a third or fourth person in that room, you obviously have to share those pillows. I think you can request more pillows, though. I think we just never have.
Yeah.
That's not
I mean, I
really-
made do.
Yeah, and the value resorts are very debatable between different types of people going to Disney. Some people love them. Some people think that there isn't enough. It depends on you. How picky are you with your room? For us, the value resorts are a perfect place to rest your head at night, especially if you're going to spend most of your time in the parks, which for us, most of our time is spent in the parks. So if this is your one trip a year and you know you are stuffing every day with something else to do, which we don't exactly recommend, you need to have your breaks.
Breaks
but
are good.
even in these value resorts, you will have a nice, clean place to spend your breaks. Our perfect hotel in the value resort category, do you know this one?
It's Pop Century.
Absolutely. Pop Century wins it for us every single time. It's going to be a little more expensive than the All-Star resorts, but still reasonably priced, and you have access to the Skyliner, which is the ultimate way to travel to the parks.
Oh, yeah.
We'll break down to transportation a little further, but when we're talking about value category, this is our number one place to stay. The All-Star Sports are nice. The All-Star Resorts are nice. You're going to have 3 of them: sports, movies, and music. We stayed at 2 of them. I'm about to stay at we actually are about to stay at the third one.
I forgot that I get to go.
Yeah, in June. We're taking a trip. I'm taking a solo trip separate, so that's what we're speaking of in a month. And I'll be staying at All-Star Movies just to keep the budget low. And I knew that I'm just going to be spending most of the time filming content, and I would feel bad spending extra money on staying at a nicer hotel without Amberlynn. So that's kind of where my decision went into there. But we're getting off topic here. The All-Star resorts are very nice. And if you're on a budget and you still want to stay on property at Disney, do not hesitate to think about staying here. Because if you want to be transported into Disney, even if the rooms only have touches of Disney, you walk outside and you are instantly in Disney, and you know it. These resorts, even Pop Century and all the value resorts, have over-the-top, huge Disney theming. And you
don't even have to look hard for it.
No, it's everywhere. All the pools here are extremely nice, and they have great hours. It kind of varies, I think, between the time you go, but it's usually 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. And the Pop Century and Art of Animation, which is the top tier of value resorts, also have a splash pad for the kiddos, which is a big deal for families. But all of the pools, you're going to have one main pool and at least one other quiet pool, if not 2. So it's nice. It's nice to have that variety. There's plenty of space for your family. Depending on the time of year you go, you will get a lot of cheer groups, which makes your environment slightly or a lot more noisier. But we haven't...
That always seems to happen to us, doesn't it?
Yeah. It'll only affect you as far as being in the main building, I feel. Once you're in your room, you're not going to really notice big, loud noises. It's only going to be in those main areas. So don't let that distract you or frighten you from maybe thinking about a value category.
Don't be scared.
Moving on to the moderate. Oh, and one last thing I wanted to say about value. Although Art of Animation is considered value category, I really think that should only apply to the Little Mermaid rooms, which is, your standard 2-queen room. They are extremely far away from your main building and the Skyliner. Everything is far away from those. You're going to have at least a 10-15 minute walk every day, which might not matter to you. It depends on what you're thinking. But actually, Pop Century, if you get a standard room, you're most likely going to get a 10-minute walk to everything too. But
to the 90s building.
Yeah. It just doesn't seem as bad for some reason. I don't know why.
I think it's because you get to look at stuff on your walk there, because there's like statues and stuff that references to pop culture.
I don't think, but it's the same with the Little Mermaid buildings. It just seems more. You haven't done that walk before,
No, I
but I've
haven't.
walked over there and just explored, and it is an extremely long walk. If you're taking a vehicle and you park your car right next to those Little Mermaid rooms, it's not going to be as bad because you're just taking your car everywhere and it'll be right outside the buildings.
Right.
But if you're taking advantage of Disney transportation, that is going to be an extremely long walk. But my point to all this is at Art of Animation, the majority of these rooms are family style buildings, which range from in the mid 400s to all the way up to almost $600 a night. But they fit a family of 6. So if you have a larger family, this might work for you, especially if you can get a deal on these rooms. We'll experience this later in the year because we have a family trip and we'll be staying in the Cars family suites. Oh, and the last thing to mention about value category rooms, everything except for the family suites at Art of Animation is a motel style building. So if that matters to you, just keep that in mind. But really, even the moderate buildings, most of the moderate buildings are hotel style or motel style buildings, like Port Orleans. Let's get into that. So moderates are going to be your mid-tier. Do you have anything to say about moderates?
Is Riverside one of them?
Yeah. Riverside. So your moderates are going to be Port Orleans, Riverside, French Quarter, Coronado Springs, Caribbean Beach. Out of the moderates that we've stayed at, do you feel like the price increase was worth the value?
Yes and no. There's pros and cons to it.
Yeah. I would say if you are going to spend more time in your resort, it is definitely worth it. Like I said, taking a slower vacation, still hitting all the parks, but taking that rest midday, enjoying the pools, and also taking maybe one resort day or two if you have the time in your vacation. These are going to be an excellent way to spend your time. Some of these resorts, such as Riverside, is going to have a sit-down dining option, boat rides.
Yeah.
Caribbean Beach.
We liked that one.
Has Sebastian's Bistro. And Coronado Springs, I would say, is an elevated resort experience. In fact, many people compare it more to a deluxe category at a moderate price.
Ooh.
However, some of these resorts are very big, such as Riverside. They have cons, like an internal bus system.
Mm-hmm.
But some of the deluxes have this as well. All of these resorts are going to be on the bigger side, except for maybe like French Quarter. That's the one moderate that's on the smaller side. But in general, moderates are going to be good for those people that want a elevated room experience. They want a little more amenities, more Disney, or more touches in the rooms. You know, there's more attention to detail at these resorts. The pools are another big, huge difference. All of the pools at all of these moderates they just blow all the values out of the water. The values are very nice. They're very cleaned. Some of them are themed kind of cool. My favorite is the Three Caballeros music.
Yeah, that's a classic.
At the Value All-Star music. But all of these, no matter where you stay in the moderates, these pools blow all the values out of the water. I like even some of these moderate pools better than, way better than some of the deluxe pools, like Saratoga Springs.
Not Animal Kingdom Lodge.
No. Saratoga Springs, Old Key West, Boardwalk, all of those have, it's an okay pool. It's not great. So these moderates, we haven't stayed at Caribbean Beach or Coronado Springs yet, so we haven't even seen these pools except for pictures. But they look incredible. So that's going to be another big difference. They all have slides too. So if you're into slides, again, spending more time at your resort, this is going to be a big deal for you. Having a nicer pool. Might I say, though, that the main pool oftentimes can get crowded. So another benefit maybe of these bigger resorts is they have quiet pools. If you don't care about the theming of the pool, quiet pools are a great place to just relax, and there's often nobody in them, maybe one or two people, but it's a great place to get away from people if your resort has quiet pools. Oh, the other thing is the one moderate resort that's on the Skyliner, the thing we talked about with the values, Pop Century, and Art of Animation.
Riviera.
No, Riviera is a deluxe. You do that.
Look.
It's confusing, I know. Sometimes. The Caribbean Beach. Caribbean Beach is the one that's on the Skyliner. It is a huge resort. So depending on where you're located in Caribbean Beach, you are going to have a bit of a walk. But moving on to deluxes. Deluxes obviously are going to be the most expensive out of all these properties.
Animal Kingdom Lodge.
Yeah, actually, Animal Kingdom Lodge is going to be one of the cheapest. The resorts that don't have alternative transportation besides bus transportation, we'll get to that in a second, are going to be your cheapest. So our Animal Kingdom Lodge, it's kind of hidden away from everything except Animal Kingdom. That doesn't mean that we don't like it, though. In fact, our favorite deluxe is
Love it.
Animal Kingdom Lodge.
Yes.
But we also haven't stayed at Polynesian, and that is on our bucket list.
We have eaten there, though.
Yes.
We've gotten to experience the lobby.
Yes. Dining in general, it's kind of cool. You don't have to stay at these resorts to dine at the restaurants in them. So as you're planning your vacation, if there's a restaurant that sounds good or people have hyped up, like Ohana at the Polynesian, you do not have to pay $600-700 a night to stay at the Polynesian. You can book that reservation and go to Ohana anytime you want. It's available to everybody, which is really nice. Yeah. And that applies to every Disney resort. There's tons of restaurants that are amazing around all the Disney properties. It's a great way to spend an off-park day or take a break from the parks and get some AC and just enjoy a really nice dining experience. But the deluxes in general, what do you think sets them apart in your mind? Okay, let me paint a picture for you, if this will help.
Oh, no.
All-star music.
Okay.
Beautiful resort. Mm-hmm. Clean. You walk in there. You're at Disney. You have your food court. You have your gift shop.
Yeah.
That's about it. You walk outside. Decent pool. Small room, but clean. Mm-hmm. Okay, now you've just pulled up. You're about to start your vacation. You've arrived via Mears Connect or
Mears Connect.
Lyft, and you got your bags. You're rolling into the resort. The double doors open at Animal Kingdom Lodge, and what's the feeling you get?
I'm in Africa.
Yeah, I forgot to ask. What's the feeling you get when you walk into All-Star Music? You're obviously excited, but what's
you're not overwhelmed. You're just like, oh, okay, I'm here.
Yeah,
it's a hotel.
Yeah, yeah.
But you go into Animal Kingdom, the lobby, just the lobby itself. There's so much involved. It's so big in there, and there's so much detail. Like you feel transported.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, that is going to be the main difference between your values, even your moderates. Your moderates will be upgraded as far as the details, but your standouts are going to be the deluxes. And most of the deluxes are like this. Not all of them have like as big of and grandiose as a lobby as Animal Kingdom Lodge, and also Wilderness Lodge is very similar.
Really?
We haven't experienced that yet either.
It's on our bucket list.
Yes, it is. But you are, like you said, truly transported to your destination. That is what stands out as far as in my mind, the difference between a value moderate and a deluxe. The more you pay, the more you are transported.
That's a good way to put it.
The accommodations do get bigger as far as room size and square footage in each room. Not by a ton, but you are going to notice a difference between a value, moderate, and deluxe. As you pay more, you will see a bigger room.
Yeah, well, okay. You look outside your window at All Star Music and you see the railing, the walkway.
Yeah.
You look outside your window at Animal Kingdom Lodge and you see a vulture on top of a log.
Or a zebra or
a zebra or a
giraffe. Like all kinds of animals. You are transported to the savannah. Even most of the standard view rooms, the animals will be farther away because you're not exactly adjacent to
But the fact that they're out
the savannah. Yeah, but your standard view rooms are still going to be a decent room. The deluxe category rooms always have a balcony at Disney, which is very nice. It's a great chill way to start your morning. I love that fact. I miss that every single time we don't stay at a deluxe.
Oh, we gotta go back.
Yeah, all of them are very nice. I will say some of them are waiting to be updated, but Disney is really working hard at updating all of the room categories, especially the deluxes. I'm trying to think if there's any that aren't. Maybe Grand Floridian, and I think Grand Floridian is getting an upgrade or has already. There is a difference. So there's DVC Villas, which is Disney's timeshare program. You can still book these rooms through Disney. You do not have to be a DVC member. They are a different category of rooms. They often come with a studio room will come with a kitchenette. But if you get a 1-bedroom, 2-bedroom, or 3-bedroom, you're getting a full kitchen, which can be nice if you're planning to spend more time in your room. These will come at a bigger cost in general, though. But if it's something that's important to you, that is a category that can be booked. But some of these villa rooms are the ones that aren't as upgraded. Say, for instance, Boardwalk. These DVC rooms, at least the one we stayed in, were not upgraded at all. They were fairly nice, but not worth a deluxe price, in my opinion. If I was going to Boardwalk, I would stay. They just brand new updated their hotel rooms.
Well, we actually didn't pay full price for that room, did we? Because there was construction going on, so the prices were a little bit lower when we went.
Yeah, we did notice that there was a lot of Well, we don't know if that's the reason, but I kind of surmised that we just noticed a big price dip last summer for Boardwalk, so we kind of took advantage of that deal. But going back to just deluxes in general, there's a million different offerings. The pools, not all of them, but the pools at most of them are going to be the best, in our opinion. Like we mentioned, Animal Kingdom Lodge. In fact, Kidani Village, which you also have access to, it's part of Animal Kingdom Lodge. It's actually their DVC portion. I've heard that pool is even better than the Jumbo House pool, which we haven't. You can walk to it. We haven't done that. That's where Sanaa is located too. Animal Kingdom Lodge has the best dining on property. There's a ton of time you can spend just at Animal Kingdom Lodge Resort. It is absolutely breathtaking.
You've got Sanaa, you've got Boma, you've got Mara,
Jico, all of these. Polynesian is another one we've talked about. The pool there looks absolutely incredible. The beach club and yacht club, not as impressive as a lobby, but the amenities there are incredible, like the pool. It is pretty much a mini water park. Castaway Bay. Is it called Castaway Bay? I can't remember now. But it is pretty much a mini water park. Yacht club and beach club share it, but there's also, again, quiet pools. If you're not into the main pool, it can get kind of crowded. There's plenty of quiet pools to still take advantage of. Also, location. That's another thing that sets apart the deluxe category resorts versus the moderates and values. Now, values, you will always have to utilize transportation. Moderates, you will always have to utilize transportation. Some of the deluxes, though, you can actually walk to some of the parks. For instance, there's 3 resorts at the Magic Kingdom that take advantage not only of the monorail, which is another transportation option, but also from all 3 of those resorts, you have the ability to walk to Magic Kingdom, which is a very big perk.
Which ones?
Grand Floridian, Polynesian, and Contemporary. All the resorts that are on the circle next to Magic Kingdom. Epcot, Beach Club, Yacht Club, and Boardwalk, you can walk to Epcot.
Right.
And technically Hollywood Studios. That is quite the walk. It's, it takes a little bit of time, but you can actually walk to Hollywood Studios. That's it, as far as I'm remembering. Yeah, that's it. The Animal Kingdom Lodge, like we talked about, it's away from everything. It's a close bus ride to Animal Kingdom, but there is no walkability there. And that's it. That is staying on property. Now, the benefits of staying on property include early theme park entry. What is early theme park entry in Berlin?
It allows you, when you stay on property, to enter the parks an hour before everybody else.
30 minutes.
I'm thinking of Universal.
Yeah, it's easy to confuse. They both have, on-site perks. We're not talking about Universal today, although we love Universal. No, it's 30 minutes every day in every single park, which doesn't sound like a lot, but you can squeeze in, 1 or 2 attractions, which is a great start to your day. It's also way less crowded typically than when the masses are let in. Mm-hmm. It's a great way to just experience, the park for 30 minutes to an hour with very little people. We love that feeling. It is
quiet.
It is an amazing perk. Especially if you're an early riser anyways, go take advantage of this by staying on property. We've kind of talked about this already, but the proximity to the parks in general, all of these resorts are close to the parks. Some of them are more far away from others just because of the sheer size of Disney World. Not every resort is going to be as close to all of the parks or one park as it is to another. There's areas, right?
It's just basic geography.
Yeah. When you actually book or are looking at different resorts, it'll say what area roughly based on the park a resort is in. For instance, all the All-Star category resorts will say that they are in the Animal Kingdom area. Doesn't mean that they're super, super close to Animal Kingdom, but they're in the area. Or Pop Century is pretty close to, obviously, the Epcot and Hollywood Studios area, but in general, everything is about a 20-minute ride away. From Animal Kingdom to Magic Kingdom, like from opposite ends, you're never going to be in a bus more than 20, 30 minutes, I would say. Or any form of transportation, it won't take more than 20, 30 minutes, which is really nice. It's one of the best perks about staying on property. Everything is close to you as far as Disney goes. Now, we've talked about it again, but another benefit of staying on property is going to be that transportation. What are our transportation options, Amberlyn?
We have buses, we have the monorail, we have Skyliner.
Yep. And the paid service of minivans, which we can talk about in a second. But at every resort, you are going to have the option of buses. Buses are revered by many, hated by some. Depends on who you talk to. Some people love them. Some people are not the hugest fan of them. We fall in the middle. We love buses. We take advantage of them all the time. Every time we can have an alternate form of transportation, we take advantage of so. We've already talked about Pop Century. That's why I love staying at Pop Century. We love the Skyliner. It's not faster necessarily when you're talking about Pop Century to Epcot.
But it's relaxing.
It is. It's, you're in the morning, you're going to be typically alone unless it is super crowded. Or you're going to have a few people with you, depending on your party size.
That can be awkward.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Or you can make a friend. It depends on how you're feeling.
I traded pins with someone.
Yeah, that was fun. Yeah. But it's just super relaxing. If you're afraid of heights, maybe not for you. And also, we talked about the 3 resorts closest to Magic Kingdom. Those are connected to the monorail. So the monorail will run through your resort. In fact, if you're staying at the Contemporary, the main reason people want to stay there, besides the amenities, is the advantage of the monorail actually running straight through the resort, which I always thought has been so cool. We have not stayed at the Contemporary because of that high price that it carries.
Another bucket list item.
Yeah, another bucket list item, at least for one night someday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the future.
Yeah. We'll do a resort video there, and we'll stay there because of we'll say it's because of the YouTube video. How about that?
Sure. That'll be the reason.
Yeah. And that's it, except for minivans. So if you have the Lyft app, you can, anywhere on Disney property, you can order a minivan. I will say it is quite the expense compared to a normal Lyft.
We've never tried it.
Yeah. It does have advantages, though. Say, for instance, you want to take a minivan to Magic Kingdom. Now, most people would say that rideshare is not the way to get to Magic Kingdom unless you have to, because it drops you at the TTC, Ticketing and Transportation Center, which involves getting to Magic Kingdom. You have to take either a boat or the monorail to Magic Kingdom. So you're taking a transportation only to take more transportation to Magic Kingdom. The only way to get dropped off right at the gates in front of Magic Kingdom is to either take a bus or take a minivan. Minivans have that special privilege of getting dropped off right at the front of Magic Kingdom, just like buses do. So if that is worth the expense to you, plus it's all minivans are driven by cast members, which, obviously are revered for their awesome hospitality. And so if you want that extra touch of having a cast member drive you around, order a minivan. Another thing that is a bucket list item. We haven't done that yet.
Oh, okay.
Okay, and another small benefit, this used to be a bigger benefit, is Magic Bands. They are not free anymore. I would say in general, this just applies to staying on property, not just Magic Bands, but utilizing the Disney Experience app. You have the ability to unlock your room using Magic Bands, which is a big perk because there's nothing worse than having to carry that key card around. We love using the Magic Band. It doesn't always work. I would say there is a few times where you have to go get it reset at the front desk, which can be annoying. So make sure it works. Test it out.
My favorite part is racing you down the hall to get to the
Oh yeah,
door
so you can
first
tap the Magic Band first. That is a fun. Yeah, this used to be a perk because when you booked a Disney World package, the Magic Band was free. Now you can get a discounted Magic Band, which if you still want to buy a Magic Band, this, in my opinion, is the only way to buy a Magic Band, especially Magic Band Plus. It is a pretty heavy discount, and it can be up to half off a Magic Band, and there's no way anybody could ever steal it and get away with it if they have a tendency to pop off once in a while.
It has your name on it.
They engrave your name on it,
which is so cool.
Which is cool, yeah, just for that fact. But also, if you lost it and somebody was picked it up or whatever, I don't think it wouldn't happen too much. Or if you went to Lost and Found, it'd be pretty easy to tell them which one is yours because it has your name right on it. So it is in my opinion, it's the only way to order Magic Bands. If you're staying on property, they, link your stay to the My Disney Experience app, and then you could automatically get that pretty heavy discount on Magic Band Plus. Do it. Trust me.
Do it. Just do it.
And then our final really big standout benefit of staying on property is going to be dining reservations. And this is a really big one. If you want those hard, tricky to get dining reservations at that 60-day window, that's when dining reservations open up for everybody.
That's
60
insane.
days. 60 days. But if you are staying on property, you have a leap over everybody that's not. Meaning that you have a 10-day window.
What?
At the start of that 60 days. You can book your whole trip of dining reservations that morning when 60 days opens up. Everybody else has to do it day by day, which, can still be okay. I've made dining reservations on the fly way sooner than 60 days. But if this is your trip of the year and you know you want to stay, you want to eat at Ohana, you want to eat at Be Our Guest, Cinderella's Royal Table. I'm only naming Magic Kingdom restaurants for some reason. Roundup Rodeo. All these new dining reservations that are hard to get. That is a huge perk. It's talked about a lot, but we can't reiterate it enough. It's amazing. You can, definitely, if you're staying on property, take advantage of this.
Yes.
Also, we didn't talk about this in the deluxe category, but the only really difference as far as amenity or benefits go, comparing to moderate and value, is on select nights. You are going to get an extra 2 hours in certain parks. I believe in general it's going to be Mondays are Epcot. Every other Monday is Epcot, and every other Wednesday is Magic Kingdom. But you check the app, check the calendar. It'll tell you specifically, because I believe that changes once in a while, depending on the season when you go. And
that's tricky.
All that stuff. You just have to, it's part of planning your itinerary, right? Which we can do for you. And we can book your dining reservations. Waking up super early in the morning at that 60-day window kind of stinks, especially if you're not an early riser. So we can do it for you.
Yeah. Now that we've stopped gushing over on property, let's now gush over off-property benefits, shall we?
Yeah. So there is going to be a big difference. I can't lie to you. We've stayed off property. It's still vacation. It's still going to be enjoyable. But if you want a Disney vacation,
you're going to want to stay inside the bubble.
Yeah. But okay, we're not making a good...
No, we're not.
Okay. So the idea of staying off property, you're going to have a few choices here. Mm-hmm. You are going to have off-property hotels that are still technically in the bubble or close to it.
Like on the outskirts,
Yeah. And most of these resorts have their own fees involved. They also have their own transportation. Off-property is going to have multiple options. You're going to have the hotels. You're going to have hotels, obviously. There is hotels that even as travel agents, we can still book a Disney package for you because they are good neighbor hotels, is what the technical term is called through Disney. Some of these are going to be, a lot of them are going to be in the Disney Springs area. In fact, some of these you can even walk to Disney Springs, which is a benefit. Our favorite one that we've stayed at so far is the Wyndham. The Wyndham is clean. The rooms are actually very big, very sizable. And if you pay a little bit extra, you get an amazing Disney Springs view. You can even watch the fireworks from your room.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Which is amazing. And these hotels, that specific room is going to run you around $200. Take it or, depending on your season, it's going to go up or down. That is amazing value. In fact, actually, some of these good neighbor hotels still carry some benefits, like the 30 minutes early into the theme parks. I know it actually changes every year, I believe, but in general, you would have to check for an updated list, or as a travel agent, we could check that for you. But some of these resorts are going to have still those benefits of staying on property, like those 30-minute early entry time. Now, you have hotels, and then you also have vacation rentals and condos, which there's a million in Orlando that you can choose from all over the place. They're going to vary in price. Some of them actually look really cool. The owners of these properties go above and beyond with the theming in the rooms. They do really try. It is a different type of vacation, though, right? It's like it's not staying on property. You're not staying in the bubble. You don't have any free transportation, especially if you're renting a house. You pretty much have to rent a vehicle, right? Or have, just take Ubers and Lyfts everywhere. It's a different type of vacation. This is going to be more ideal for a bigger family that wants to go to Disney World on a budget.
Possibly with like older kids.
Yeah, well, yeah, kids in general, if you just need more space for a bigger family, this is going to be more ideal for you. Now, the pros of staying off property really go down to there's one pro, and you can save money. But you have to pay attention. A lot of these resorts, they're tricky. The main gripe that a lot of people have with off-property hotels is resort fees. When you go to book a hotel, you go on hotels.com or booking.com or whatever it is. You go in and you look and it says, hey, this resort is only $115 a night or $90 a night or like some really low price. Then you go to book it. Then you pick your room. And then all of a sudden, instead of $90 a night, it's more like $150, $175 or even $200 a night because they're hitting you with all of these fees that they don't talk about.
Those weasels.
Yeah. And so, and in fact, all of the Disney Springs hotels, you will not book a single one of them without a resort fee.
Why?
It's just the way it is. Even the Wyndham has a resort fee. So when I was talking about that price earlier, that includes the resort fee. Just for clarification, we included that. Disney has a resort fee too, but they don't charge you separate for it. It's just built into the price, right? Because the whole point of a resort fee is the maintenance of the property. It goes into upkeep with the pool, and they say some of the benefits like the pool and the dining the dining options and all of this other stuff.
So you're like paying taxes to stay there?
It's not tax. It's it's chosen by whoever owns the hotel what the resort fee per night would be. All of the off-property resorts have it. I shouldn't say all. Some of them don't, and you have to look. There are a few options. There's in Flamingo Crossing, I know there's some more like, again, villa type of rooms that have a kitchenette and things like that are a good value. Again, it's a different type of experience, right? You aren't really getting themed rooms. If you're just looking for a place to sleep and you find the value and you crunch the numbers and say, even if I have to rent a car, even if, we have to drive everywhere, it's worth it for me to stay off property. Now, going into our third and final area, comparing the two. Comparing the two, the first major difference you're going to think about is cost breakdown and comparison. Now, I've crunched the numbers. And in general, with the discounts that Disney's been putting out, unless there's a specific reason in your family that you do not want to stay on property, again, you need a vacation home, there is no reason in my mind to stay off property. Or if, not just if you need a vacation home, maybe you aren't just doing Disney. You're doing Universal. You don't want to switch hotels from Disney property to Universal property, which is in general what we would choose to do. If you just want one place to stay, you just want a house and you're going to be in Disney or you're going to be in Orlando for a week or 2 weeks or whatever, you just want a house, totally fine. Makes sense. But if you are just doing Disney, when I compare the analysis, if you don't mind staying at a value resort, an all-star resort, which again, amazing. Over the top Disney theming. All the rooms are going to be very clean, very modern, very comfortable. It just doesn't make sense to me because when you compare what comes with staying at Disney, and again, some of those things we've lost, like Magical Express and the free Magic Bands, but you still have all of the free transportation. You have the advantage of getting your dining locations, which isn't cost analysis, but it is an advantage. You are going to pay roughly the same price that you would with an off-property resort. Even a cheaper resort like the Wyndham or the the hotel category of the Wyndham Garden Inn, which is in the same building as the Wyndham in Disney Springs. It's just lower floors. It's technically called a different resort. When you compare the cost analysis with the resort fees, yes, they do have transportation options, but again, if you want to take advantage, I can't speak to whether it's reliable or not. In Disney, I know in general, for the most part, you can trust the buses. Some people say it's a hit or miss. We haven't really experienced really big delays with the bus, to be honest. Sometimes you do have to wait a little bit, but it's never a ridiculous amount of time.
No.
It just doesn't make sense financially, the difference in price. If there's very little, if not any difference in price between having a vacation package at the All-Star Resorts and staying off property. The difference starts to be separated when you're thinking about a moderate versus off property or a deluxe versus off property. If you want an elevated room at a cheaper price, not Disney themed, but just elevated, off property is going to be more cost effective. After you factor in resort fees, getting your own transportation, if you want to make sure you're at the parks at the time that you want to be at the parks, not relying on, off property transportation, it might make sense then. But then again, it is apples and oranges, right? Because you're missing that theming. And
You're going to have this empty hole in your chest.
Okay.
Where your heart should be.
Yeah.
Too much?
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Yeah, it just, again, we're a little biased. We love staying on properties.
Yeah.
Some people you talk to, and some people, some of these videos you watch, they will preach off property all day. And, that's on them.
Just our opinion.
Yeah. Exactly. So everybody's going to have their own opinion. When it comes to convenience and time comparing, there is no comparison really. The convenience of staying on property, especially at resorts like Pop Century, any Skyliner resort, the Riviera is another Skyliner resort. It's another deluxe that we didn't really talk about as much. Great dining options, great room accommodations, brand new room accommodations, or more recent room accommodations, or even the resorts where you can walk to the parks. There is no comparison there of the convenience and time. Another thing with convenience is you can check in on your app on your phone. You don't even have to talk to the front desk at the Disney resorts. You just go in on your phone that day and it tells you when your room is ready. That is a very big convenience factor that you might not think about as much, but it's just another time-saving thing. Or if you're staying at 2 Disney resorts, you don't have to lug your bags to the other resort.
Oh, yeah.
You could drop your bags off at luggage services, go to the parks that day, and at the end, when you're done with parks, just take the appropriate bus to your new resort, and magically your bags will be at the new resort.
Like magic.
That is a huge benefit of staying off property. I'm staying on property.
He doesn't know anymore.
I've said off property, on property too many times. There's a huge advantage of staying on property. Yeah, and especially, if you're doing 2 resorts, checking out 2 different resorts, huge benefit. Split stay. Yeah, it's just really nice.
I will say, with my experience of on property versus off property, it really depends on what you're doing on your vacation, trip wise. Because when you're staying on property, you're focused on going to the parks. But off property, you might be leaning more towards going to Disney Springs and hanging out there, doing more shopping kind of stuff. And I mean, when we were doing that, when we were staying at the Wyndham, that's what we were more focused on. We were going to Disney Springs.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a great point. If, you're doing different things. it may be worth it to stay off property, especially different, certain resorts. It may be like the Wyndham. It may be worth it to stay there if you're going to spend more time at Disney Springs, if you're doing a lot of shopping, if you're doing a lot of eating and dining. And that kind of brings us to our next, comparison is the amenities and dining between off and on property. Is there a comparison?
I mean, it's no contest. I mean, most hotels that you stay off property, they're not going to have built-in restaurants.
There is certain ones I've heard really good reviews about. I'm forgetting the name of it. It's been really popular with certain creators.
But does the food pop off?
Well, I would say there's I've heard it's popular because it's a free breakfast buffet and a free dinner buffet.
Free?
Included with the price of your stay.
Why have you deprived me of free food, Calfoti?
And I've heard it's decent food. And also, I think you get a certain amount of credits towards alcoholic beverages for free too. Like there is a crazy benefit with it. I wish I could remember the name of it. It's a certain chain that one just got built in Disney Springs, and a lot of people have stayed there and had good reviews.
See, I don't know enough about off property
to
actually have an opinion on it.
Yeah, especially with the dining. I will say that just Disney dining in general, maybe not so much at the value resorts. The values is just more for a quick bite.
Yeah, it's like cafeteria food.
Yeah, it's good, but it's not like anything to write home about.
No.
When you're staying at the deluxes, you are getting amazing dining options. You are going to pay for them, obviously, but they are very good. No matter where you stay, honestly. The Boardwalk has multiple amazing dining options. Animal Kingdom, we've already talked about all the amazing dining options they have.
We will never stop talking about that Animal Kingdom Lodge.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah. Animal Kingdom Lodge, the best dining options. But it's not to say, like we talked about, not to say that, off property doesn't have dining options. In fact, a lot of these resorts have free buffets or a paid buffet that may be worth it to you. But it goes again, how do you want to spend your time? It may be a free buffet, but you're paying over $100 a day for your tickets, right? Mm-hmm. In general, or 100, depending on how many park days you have. You're paying good money to go to Disney, to pay for those tickets. So do you really want to take a couple hours in the morning eating technically a free buffet when you could be taking advantage of lower wait times in the parks? And eat, breakfast in the parks. And
with Winnie the Pooh at the Crystal Palace.
Well, that's a more expensive option, but
it is. But
you could there's plenty of breakfast to go options in each of the parks.
Yeah.
In fact, we should make a video about that.
Yay,
having the perfect morning in the parks, in each park. That's a great video, because then people know exactly where our go-to breakfast spots are. But in general, it just doesn't, for me personally, it wouldn't make sense to eat off property, at your hotel, unless you are okay with losing a couple hours. You have to be okay with not getting to the parks right away. And maybe that's a good thing for your family. We've talked about taking it slow. Maybe you don't want to get to the parks until later, and then you plan to just stay until close.
Yeah, it just goes back to what your preference is.
Yeah, and maybe you do just want to take advantage of that free buffet, and then, go have lunch and, go get to the parks by 11 or 12 o'clock. But if you're trying to make the most of your time, yes, maybe the hotel buffet is free, but time-wise, it's best spent in the parks, even if you're staying off property.
Go make some memories.
Yeah. Speaking of time too, and at the end of the day, spending time in the parks, at the end of the day, I love the feeling of just, sometimes you have to wait for the bus, but like if you're at a park where you're utilizing the Skyliner, or if you're staying at the Boardwalk, you're walking out of Epcot,
Oh,
You
yeah.
just go straight to your room, or taking advantage of Disney transportation. There's nothing better than that feeling of the effortlessness that it takes to get back to your
Yeah.
hotel. There's no booking, a Lyft or an Uber. You don't have to walk back to your car and drive. I'm just speaking from my own opinion because I hate driving on vacation. I do not want to drive on vacation. I don't want to be in the driver's seat until I'm back at our home airport and walking to our car. That between when we arrive at our airport and when we get back to the airport, I do not want to be in the driver's seat. And I know you feel the same way, right?
I didn't realize you felt this strongly about that.
Do you feel the same way?
I mean, yeah, I don't want to be driving on vacation, but that's just because I am stressed out and I'm in a different state, and I don't. People are crazy.
Yeah, and I especially don't want to drive in Orlando, to be honest with you. There's crazy drivers out there. There's plenty of vacationers that don't know where they're going. You have,
Can you imagine after the fireworks going into that parking lot,
well, that's
trying to find your car,
Yeah.
and then trying to get out of that parking lot?
that's the thing is like we've never experienced that, but there's tons of people that do that every single day,
That sounds insane.
and it amazes me because you're just waiting in line. It's kind of like
Those people are built different.
It's kind of like after a big, huge concert that you would go to like a football stadium for, like the Taylor Swift concert.
Gillette Stadium.
Gillette
that was
Stadium?
Insane.
You're just sitting there for hours in traffic
Waiting for people just to go.
just to go. And you could be, at Disney World, you could do that, or you could just be waiting for your bus or on your bus, Skyliner, monorail, whatever, on your way back to your resort to your nice, comfy Disney bed. That's okay. That's just my opinion, but that's
No.
now that we've experienced it that way, it's really hard to do off property with the thought of having to do that.
No more fuss. Take the bus.
Yeah, pretty much. Okay, so I've actually pulled up a Reddit thread entitled off stay versus on-site stay versus off-site stay. And let's just go through and see what people are saying of the difference, because I am curious. One person says, we just stayed off-site for our trip. Looking back, I saved money on the condo, but I spent money on a rental car, parking each day. That's something we didn't talk about. Parking each day. If you aren't an annual pass, you're off property. You are paying to park at the parks each day.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Which I believe is $25 or $30. I don't know that because we never parked.
Taking the bus is free.
Yeah. Parking each day, as well as Genie Plus each day, that perhaps I wouldn't have needed if I had early or late park hours each day. When you're comparing costs, just be sure to compare for the all-in costs, which factor all of these things, plus the extra time that I spend in Florida traffic each day.
Oh.
Because you're not inside the bubble.
Yep, that's a good point.
So 40 to 60 minutes is each day is what she's saying. That would really depend on where you're staying and what time of day it is. And there's a lot of variables in there. But that's exactly what we're saying. There's a lot of costs of staying off property, which, you look at that higher price point of staying on property at a Disney hotel. It quickly adds up staying off property.
It just seems more complicated than it needs to be. And when you're on vacation, the last thing you want to think about is complications.
Yeah, exactly. Another person agreeing with the person we just said says, that's it for me too. I've looked at a lot of options for a future trip, including those hotels that are just barely off-site, like Disney Springs, like we talked about. Flamingo Crossing hotels, which we've talked about. But for all those, it means renting a minivan for the family, not a Mickey and Minnie van, like not a Disney minivan, like an actual minivan for the family, which is a minimum of $600 for a week. Again, lots of variables there, and this thread is 9 months old. Unless I go with one of those super sketchy off-site rental locations. Then there's a gas and tolls, which itself can add up to what I could just pay for an Uber or Lyft to an on-site hotel. And then $25 a day parking for the parks, plus possibly parking for the parking at the hotel often costs money.
Oh my gosh. So you're paying for a lot of unnecessary fees.
Yeah, and even if you rent a car at Disney, the parking was paid, they did put money back on it. Like you had to pay like, I don't know, $10-14 a day or something. They just removed that. So actually it's free to park if you're staying on site at Disney. And it's, don't quote me on this, I believe it's free to park at Disney if you're staying on site as well. Free to park at the parks if you're staying on site. But why would you? Okay, that's the whole different conversation. It's, people do whatever they want.
It's true.
She also says, then you lose out on early entry benefits, which is huge for Epcot and Hollywood Studios. Huge for every park, honestly. Which means that I'm probably buying Genie Plus or individual lightning lanes more than I would otherwise. Drury Inn, that's what she just mentioned. Drury Inn is the one that has the free breakfast buffet.
Oh, okay.
And the free dinner buffet.
And that's off property.
That's off property, yeah, but it's in Disney Springs.
Okay.
And it does have its own, transportation. But again, do we trust non-Disney transportation? I don't know. We'd have to find out.
Hard to say.
Another person says that we prefer to stay on property simply because once you get there, you park your car, or if you're just taking transportation to the hotel, and you don't have to drive again until the day you leave.
Yeah, it's literally no worries for the rest of your days at Disney.
The buses to the parks and other resorts in Disney Springs are so much more convenient than having to park and drive and park and drive. Here's one, though.
Ooh.
They say, I actually prefer driving than taking the bus, to be honest. LOL. With little kids, at the end of the day, we have found it to be easier to just trek to our car and load up and go than we have to stand and wait 20 minutes for a bus. Our stroller is also not the friendliest to carry when folded up either. With that being said, definitely understand your preference of the simplicity. So it also depends on your family.
Mm-hmm.
Big strollers are the enemy.
Yeah.
Even if you have to use them, they are tough.
Especially trying to get on the bus with one of those.
Last one that I'm going to read. I mean, it keeps going on. And so the consensus is most people prefer to stay on property. The kind of the train of thought, not the train of thought, but the way people often go is their first trip to Disney World. People that don't plan, that don't utilize a travel agent, often will stay off property because they see the price difference. They do off property, and then they're like, oh man, that was really crazy. If they give Disney World another chance, they stay on property because of the simplicity. That's not always the case. Some people will just enjoy off property, but it's typically the consensus of what I'm seeing on here. But so last person, this person says, now that I've stayed on site, always at All-Star Music, Movies, or Sports, which
Good
are value
choice.
resorts, I will never not stay on site. I used to be that person that looked solely for what was cheapest, but hunting for a decent off-site hotel in Orlando was always risky. Reviews are where I make my judgments on where to stay, and so many hotels have inconsistent reviews on cleanliness. Plus, after increased prices and additional resort and parking fees, they often come out to be the same cost or higher, so you're sacrificing nothing. I considered Airbnb this year too, but after looking into it for several trips, cost-wise, it came out almost the same. That's what I'm saying, because of the exorbitant cleaning fees they tack on.
Oh.
Yeah, that depends on the property you're staying, but that is a big factor with Airbnb. We've stayed on property several times now, and the rooms are always clean, quiet, comfortable, and fully functional. The staff are always kind and happy to help, plus the perks of early park entry and free property-wide transportation mean I can save money and not paying for parking or gas to get around. The last several trips, my car didn't move at all between check-in and the trip home. Amazing. And you can charge purchases to your room using your Magic Band. Another benefit of Magic Band I forgot about. Tap that Magic Band. It may be deadly to your wallet, though, so be careful.
Yeah, that's dangerous.
It makes it very easy to pay for stuff, especially if you're not seeing it come out of your bank account right away. When you go to check out and...
I spent how much?
Yeah. So it could be a good thing. It could be a bad thing. Depends on your preference there. But if it is a convenient factor. Okay, and she finally says, if that wasn't enough, there are freebies which are just add to the fun. All-Star Music has marshmallow roasting daily at 5 p.m. year-round for free. You can buy s'mores kits if you like. This may exist at the other All-Star resorts. Yes, they do. In fact, most resorts have marshmallow roasting, I would say.
That's so fun.
Many have movies under the stars for
Yep.
easy evenings, which, yeah, pretty much every hotel on property has movies under the stars. Another benefit, they're mostly by the pool. Depends on what resort you're staying at. But it's kind of cool. You're sitting by the pool or you're in the pool. Good for kids, good for adults.
Yeah.
Have a nice
We watched Aladdin
movie
in
by
the
the pool.
pool.
Yeah. She ends her statement with, "It's just better at Disney."
Thank you. Preach.
Yeah. So, in general, off property versus on property, what are you doing?
On property.
Yeah.
I don't have to think about it.
And we did preface this episode by saying we are biased. We love staying on property. I don't foresee us not staying on property unless it's for a video, to consider the benefit or not the benefit, to consider if it's worth the price savings of staying off property. But will we do that in the future? Like I said, maybe for a video. But if it's for our personal vacation enjoyment,
We're not going to go out of the way to do it.
yeah, we're staying on property every single time, Universal or Disney. Although we are talking about Disney, but it still applies. It's, it's all the things we've talked about. I don't want to beat a dead horse, but it's just different. At the end of the day, we're here to give you the best tips for saving money and having the best vacation ever. And if you, on the one regard of having the best vacation ever, there is no comparison when staying off property versus staying on property. You need to stay on property if you want to have the best vacation ever, in our opinion. Off property is still good, but on property, no comparison. Saving money, we've talked about it. We've read Reddit reviews. There is minimal difference as long as you don't mind the value resorts. If you're trying to stay on a budget, there is minimal, if at all, any difference in the price. In fact, if you wait for Disney to put out discounts, which again, if you're booking through a travel agent, we can do that automatically.
He knows the discounts.
You don't have to wait. You don't have to ask me. I just automatically apply them to your booking, and I say, "Hey, congratulations! When you have your final payment, it's only this much instead of this much."
Yeah.
If you're waiting for if you get those discounts that Disney has often been putting out, up to 30%, or if you're an annual pass holder, 35%, it's might be even cheaper than staying off property, to be honest with you.
That's wow.
So yeah, that's the breakdown. Will we touch on this in the future? Absolutely.
You know we will.
Yeah. And like we said, go check out our other YouTube channel. We might do some videos in the future going through different resorts. I would like to give the Wyndham another chance again because we enjoyed our time there.
Yeah.
Great view in our room.
We liked walking to Disney Springs.
I want to try the Drury Inn for their for free buffet.
Yeah, we should do that.
And all the benefits of there. Just to, we'll give it a chance. But when it comes down to it, we are on property people through and through.
What are you gonna do?
In fact, my last thought here is when I was planning our first trip to Disney World, there was no, I kind of wanted a biased point of view, to be honest with you. I wanted to know all the options, but I wanted to know, was it worth it to stay on property? Because like I said, first timers, they see that huge price difference and they say, whoa, I'm not staying on property. But I wanted to know, was it worth it? And everybody was so subjective, or not so subjective. Everybody was kind of neutral, which you kind of want that, in one aspect. You want to know what are the pros and cons of both. But at the end of the day, those podcasts and YouTube videos ended with, do what you want. And I'm telling you that it is absolutely worth it to stay on property. No question about it. Go do it. That being said, do you want to stay on property, or would you stay off property every single time? We want to know. Let us know in the comments. Until next time, I've been Cal,
I've been Amberlyn,
and you're watching
the Adventure Gateway.